The Lner Azuma train set. Is it any good? Stay tuned and all will be revealed. Well, good afternoon everyone and welcome back to Piccadilly Eastway. Now, as you can see in front of you, I've got the Lner Azuma train set, and now do bear in mind, as I got this from Rainbow Railways, I did do a bit of a deal with them and they agreed to remove the track for me, and then so none of this is in here, nor is the controller. It's literally just the 3-car unit there, the train as such. But let's get it out and have a look. I'm not going to be going through all the box and all the rest of it. And there it is. So obviously there's your instructions and your actual train itself. So let's have a look. Now, I saw Dave at Dean Park do a video, and also Model Loco. Both have done reviews on these. Now, looking at it, as you can see, it is quite a light locomotive or train. That is actually the dummy car. As you can see, it's literally just spare wheels. Does it have pickups? Can't quite see in there. Yes, it does have pickups. So that's got to be a good thing, because obviously it's got directional lighting. And actually, I think that is quite a decent rendition. I mean, if you look at the roof there, that's not massively far off the full fat version. Now, there are clear differences. As Dave pointed out, you've got moulded detail here instead of separately applied detail, and this pantograph does not raise, as far as I can tell. It is fixed, and again, that would be good for the children, because obviously if you drop it, it's less likely to break. And this here on the full VAT version is rubberized, that is solid plastic, and you can see the doorway in the end there is a lot more simplistic, as are these pieces down here. And whilst the bogies do seem to be fairly well represented, and all this along the bottom here, there are painted sections, like each of these on the full fat version is painted yellow, all these little bits along the sides here, and there is considerably more detail down the side of the doors, and particularly this area here along the top here on both of these carriages. So it is very much a simpler version. And I've also noticed a slight livery error, in the sense that this red line here comes much lower down onto the headlight, and this swoosh comes up to line up with the silver and not up to the headlight. So mild differences there. I mean, to be honest with you, it is so similar that you probably wouldn't even worry about it, to be honest. But obviously the biggest difference is the windows. You cannot see inside there at all. Although having said that, if you catch the light properly, you might just be able to make out it's an empty shell, basically. There is no interior, there is no cab or anything like that. And as you can see from that, we've got a moulded windscreen wiper, which you would normally get as a separately fitted item. And the nose cone is part of the moulding, so that does not come off, nor does this whole section. That is just a groove put in there, and it implies the doors might open, but again, it's a solid moulding. But to be honest with you, I think that looks absolutely fantastic for a railroad version. We've got the same couplings as you have on the full fat version. I don't have a full fat version, by the way, just in case you wondered. So I'll just put that back in there for the moment. Let's have a look at the coach. There's probably not a massive amount of difference, to be honest. Oh, that feels very stiff. just there, that bogey. But again, it's pretty much the same type of thing. All right. And again, at the ends here, this is more relief pipe work and not moulded. But as I said, I think where the children are concerned, I think this is a very, very good representation. And I think it will spark their interest. Now, this is heavier. Not massively heavy, but you can feel the weight in it. So obviously you've got, there you've got traction tyres on that one. And that is just a standard bogey. So obviously all the driving wheels are just there. It looks like these two driving wheels, or this bogey I should say, these two axles, are driving the whole train. So that would be interesting to see if that is strong enough to do that. Hornby say it is. And I definitely did see it running at the NEC with 5 coaches. So, you know, there we are. Right, welcome back. Now you can see I've got the Azuma power car in front of me. And that's the drive just there. That end is free, so there's not even any pickups on that. All of the power comes out of that one. So, I mean, it did run fairly well, as you'll see in a bit, but I am going to fit the decoders. Now, in the last video, I did say that I was going to use this for the flirt, and I am. But I will need 2 more of these to put in here when the time's right. So I'm going to use this initially in here without sound, and I've got a dapole 6 function initially to use in the other end, and then obviously once I get 2 more of these, then I'll swap these 2 out and this will go into the flirt as suggested. Now, to open this up, there are 5 screws. So there's 1 at the end, 2 in the middle, and you've got 2 down the bottom here. Okay, so let's do that. And the last one. Now these screws are a bit tight, bearing in mind they're only screwed into plastic, so when you put them back in, you only want to just nip them up. Well, you'll strip the thread basically. Now, that's what's inside. Okay. So obviously with the railroad version, there is no interior. But it'd be interesting to see the lighting, and not the lighting, the windows. They do seem to be quite blacked out, but you can see that is quite a dark plastic they've put in there. But the plan will be eventually to remove these and replace them with something which is less opaque, and likewise the cab window as well. And might be quite nice to see if I can actually get an interior in there. I just don't know at the moment. It's all a bit new, so I'll just be happy to get it working, to be honest. Now, taking the decoder out, let's use something a bit more suitable. Right, let's get these out. This is the thing come with the cricket machine. Well, you can get the branded one, but this is, I got this one off Amazon. I said it come with it, but you know, it's for it, I mean. So I'm just going to gently ease up the decoder from either side. Well, that's the blanking plate, isn't it? And now I want to fit this decoder here. Right, so here's the HM7000. That's it. Now I have to work out which way round. That's the one single pin on this side. I don't know whether you can make that out. And so therefore, with that, the one single pin is at this end. So that's got to go that way around. Now I'm just noticing There is no electronics under the board, which is quite significant, to be honest. Down like that, and just give it a bit of a push home. Like that. Now, hopefully, that should be all right now. All the pins have come through there, so hopefully you can see that. That's got to be good. Right, it's time now to put all this back together. Right, now this is the dummy car. Now, I'm not going to go through the process all over again. You can see it's got exactly the same screws, so 2 there, 2 in the middle and 1 at the end. But what I do want to point out is the fact I did suggest it hasn't got pickups, but it has. And hopefully you can see those in there. And again on the rear wheels. But more importantly, this is the power car, and there are pickups in there as well. So hopefully you can make those out too. So it's not as bad as I first thought. I thought that all the power was going to be picked up from the one bogie, but that's not the case. So it does stand a chance if it's got power being picked up from this. And obviously this has no power in it. It's just a coach. But the fact it's got stay alives in it to power the headlights, and eventually that will be brilliant when I come to put an interior into this and fit lighting as well. So anyway, I'll catch you in a bit. Right, join these two together. You've got like a NEM style coupling type housing there, and then a socket. Now I have found that these need to be very carefully put together. You have to just try and support it, to be honest. It doesn't always just go together as you think it should. So turning up the power now. Now, this is with the power car at the front. Now, let's try it the other way, shall we? Seems to be catching on the ballast quite a bit there, doesn't it? And there you can see it. As you can see, it's just derailed again. And I wasn't doing that deliberately, but this is the big issue with it. In push mode, when the power car, that's the power car at the end, this is the dummy. Now it's normally this that derails, and it has been an absolute nightmare trying to get this to run and not derail. Basically it's because the dummy car isn't heavy enough to stay on the track, and it's bouncing about all over the place. So now I think when it's just going forward, it's absolutely fine. There is no issues with that whatsoever going forward. But you see, the thing is, when the children get a hold of this, they're going to want to play with it at high speed, because it's a high-speed train. So they're going to really want to push it to its maximum. And I've just seen on this layout, now granted there are some quite sharp curves on here, but it's all third and fourth radius. There are no second radius or below curves on this. So, you know, it shouldn't have any issues whatsoever. But yet, it does. And I did try it on the incline, and it just couldn't do it. Now, we talked about the hush-hush a few months ago, going up the incline, and that, I put some extra weight in that, and it really made a huge difference. But that was with a big motor. Now, bearing in mind, the only bogie that is powered on this train is that one. So there's not a central motor in here with two flywheels going off to either end. It is literally just one single bogie. Now, I think if you're running this on an oval, and a fairly big sweeping oval, it probably would be okay, certainly in pull mode. However, when the power car is pushing the train, that's when the issues start to occur. And basically, the couplings, the kinematic couplings are jamming, and therefore it's causing the train to derail. So who is this for then? I would say it is quite toy grade, so obviously for a younger audience, but the thing is, this is half the price of the full fat or highly detailed version. Obviously you'd have to buy the two more coaches, so you're looking for this train set around about the £160, £170 mark. They are planning on bringing out the two driving cars, one power car, one dummy car, and then obviously you can buy the coaches separately. So I think the driving units are coming in around about the £135 mark, give or take, depending on where you get it. The coaches will seem to be around about the £31 to £35 mark each. So you're probably looking around about £200, £230 for a complete 5-car set. I wouldn't go any more than that because I don't think the motor would be able to pull the coaches, to be honest. So when you think about the highly detailed version being around about the £400, £450 mark at the retailers, you can see where I'm coming from. So compromises have had to be made to bring out a train of this quality. Now, I think it is an absolutely fantastic set. I'm not going to run it down from that point of view. So for those people who really just want to have an Lner Azuma running around their track, as long as the track is flat and there's no inclines, it will do the job absolutely brilliantly. You do need to be aware of what's going on in push mode because the derailments were considerable. Now, the other part of it is, which I haven't mentioned yet, is about the traction tyres. Now, one of those derailments, well, no, several of those derailments were where the dummy car comes off the track and then catches something, whether it be a platform or whether it be a piece of ballast or jams on a point or something like that. But it hasn't been sufficient to trip the Z21. But it's the traction tyre, the grinding on the track, and then it causes it to pop off. And this happened a few times. And to try and get it back on is quite difficult because you can't see what you're doing. And so I had to put the front wheels onto the track just to get the motor to turn just a tiny little bit to get it back on. But the problem being is once the traction tyres have popped off once, they've stretched a little bit and they start to wear. So once it's happened once, there's a great chance it's going to happen several times more. And it did. Well, I hope you've enjoyed the review, the ups and downs of this particular Azuma train set, but it's given you a little bit more information to choose whether you would like to buy one for yourself or not. But anyway, I think I'm going to leave the video there. I'm going to wish you a very happy new year and prosperous 2026, and I will catch you very, very soon here on Piccadilly Eastway. Take care of yourself and bye for now.